going out there? Today we'll be going over the Apollo mod. Now this is Apollo made out of aluminum. Now I know what some of you are thinking, it's aluminum so it's not going to be that high quality of a mod, but you're going to be surprised with the hit this thing gives you. It's really amazing. It is a hybrid top cap, so this part does come off. It doesn't have the same features that the Hades Mini top cap has, but it's still a good top cap. If you're looking for a good hybrid competition mod, this is the way to go. Little to no voltage drop on this thing at all. It is wonderful. Today I'll be using Sony VTC4s, aside from my MXJOs that I normally use to give these things a spin. Today I'll be building on an Atty 2.5. Now again, both of these are products from Gear Spec, so they're pretty they're quality mods, quality RDAs. Everything is nice about them. So I'm gonna see how they fire. This Atty does have a brass contact instead of a copper contact, so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work out. I have had good builds. I've had good fire up from a lot of these brass contact mods. The Dark Horse that I use all the time, that has brass contacts, and I haven't had any problem with it. Heats up instantly, great fire, doesn't quit on me. I enjoy it. Okay, so I'm going to go over what we need today. So we're going to use 24 gauge, as well as the coil jig again. Just makes things a little easier. Atty 2.5, the Apollo RDA, my pliers and my cutters, always a necessity. Today I'll be going after a 24 gauge dual coil 7 wrap, but I'm going to do them vertical instead, just to give it a change of pace. Alright, so we're going to go to the close-ups to show you the mods themselves, the details on them, everything around it, and then we'll go to the build video. Alright, so here's the close-up of the Apollo. As you can see, it's an aluminum frame. It looks really nice. The color on there is different. I was trying to get a gold matchup with a gold Atty, but this is the closest color combination we have for that. But it's still a nice mod. I like the lettering on there. I like the design. These are actually etched inside there as well. It's not just painted on both sides. Now you'll notice, like I said I had before, the copper ring, the brass ring for the hybrid cap. And this one doesn't have the same indent that the Hades Mini had, so you got to be careful when you're installing these batteries. What I like to do is I like to install the RDA first onto the hybrid ring, so I know that it's going to make contact only to the 510 or to the center contact right here. Like I said, this contact is brass instead of copper like most Attys will have, but it's a clone. It works really well. It's very cheap, and then I'll just spin that part right onto the RDA itself. Now you're going to see it usually fits pretty flush on there. There's not going to be much issues with it at all. I do enjoy this mod quite a bit. I also have this in the brass as well. I love it. It's one of my go-to vapes, right next to the Hades Mini at this point. I just love these hybrid top rings. These hybrid top caps just make it so much easier for me. I'm a cloud chaser. I like to blow clouds. So these make these things much easier for me. The build I'm putting on today is not going to be a cloud chasing build. It's just going to be like a leisure build. You're just going to vape on it. It's not going to be too strong to where you can't breathe, or it's going to produce massive clouds, but it's not going to be where you can't taste it either. So you're going to get a good hit off of it. You're going to get a good fire. It's going to ramp up pretty quick. It's going to burn evenly. You're going to have all the same qualities. You're going to notice that we're using grub screws instead of Phillips head or flathead screws. And like I said, I stated before in my first American Muscle video that I prefer the grub screws because they tend to back out less and I can get a tighter connection on there. There's nothing else sticking on top of the RDA, so I mean, it's just easier for me. I enjoy it. It seems to work well for me. These post holes are still pretty big, as the Attys usually have. I think these are about 2 mm diameter, so I'll be able to fit 24 gauge in there easy. It's going to slide in just like butter. Now I'm going to dual it. Alright, so now we're going to go to the build video. So like I said, I'm going to use the coil jig again. I'm going to use the biggest rod that we have inside the coil jig to wrap these coils, just so I can get a lot of cotton in there and fluff it up, so I can hit it constantly, so I don't have to juice it every 2 or 3 hits. I can juice it every 5 or 6 hits, and I'm going to show you in the video. So again, we're going to go back to our basics with a coil jig. It's really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this part right here. Attach my canthal in there. Tighten it down. Grab my pliers just to make sure I get a nice snug fit on that thing. Alright, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 6 wrap. Four, 5, 6. Do a little quarter turn just to make sure that lead stays there. Like I said, this coil jig leaves you machine quality coils just by wrapping them by hand. Took me no time at all to get that. That there is a quality coil. Done really easy. Coil jig helps a lot with that. It gives you a good base to hold on to while you're wrapping. It also is I forgot to mention this in the last video, but this little hole right here, it fits a 510 threading, so you can put your RDA on here and use this as the build deck itself if you don't want to build on your mod. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the second one. Done. Now I got two nearly perfect coils wrapped on that coil jig. Makes it very easy. All I gotta do is install them. So, like I always do, just gonna go ahead and grab the rod out of this one, just so I keep the integrity of the coils when I'm installing them. Go ahead and slide this back through. Like I said, we're doing vertical coils, so I wanna make sure I put the longer lead through the center and the shorter lead through the negative, and then adjust them flat, or adjust them vertical when I get them in there. Now I'm going to put them a little offset to the right or left, whatever you prefer, just because I can get better airflow from that corner when I have those three holes directly onto the coil. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this part down. The Addy comes with a little goodie bag with extra hex screws as well as your Allen key, but the Allen key is nice because it's not like the one used on the Helios. It's the same one used on the Doge. You can find it at any store, so if you lose it, you're not shit out of luck, and you can just go ahead and go to the store and buy a 1 or size 0 Allen key. That's all it is. So I'm going to go ahead and install my coil. There's one. Now I'm going to do the second one. Now you're going to notice that getting this second strand of Kanthal through this post hole is going to be very easy. It just kind of slides right in. Now I want to make sure when I get it in there, I don't want to cross that first coil. That's just a personal habit of mine. I like to make sure my coils stay flat when they're inside the post. Alright. Post hole needs threading needs to go up. Just dropping this thing all over the place today. Alright. Now by doing it this way, you'll ensure that the lead going into the positive post is always going to be the bottom lead on the coil when you're installing these. You want to make sure you keep symmetry on them as much as possible. So now I'm going to go ahead and tighten down all my leads, all my posts, and then adjust the coil to where I need it. Get a nice solid connection on all of these. And then just adjust. I seem to pull a little bit of lead out from my negative one. I always make sure my coils are adjusted properly before I cut the leads, just that way in case I need a little extra more of it, I can always have it there instead of having to wrap a new coil. Then I'll chop the leads after I get it looking the way I want it to. Okay, that's done. So now that I got the coils even, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down a little more, just to verify that they do get a solid connection. And snip the leads off. I try to get as close to this post as possible when I cut these off. Soon we will have gear spec tools, a full building kit, so if you're ever needing any of these things, you can go ahead and find it on our website. I'll be sure to do a video with those pretty soon here so you can see what the tools look like and how well they perform. Minor adjustments here and there. Alright, I'm just going to put a battery in here and heat it up. Heating up pretty quick, like I expected. I'm going to put that post right back in there and just kind of straighten them out. Now that they're heated up, a little more malleable, got a little more give to them. I got 2 vertical coils. They're heating up evenly. Beautiful. I like how not even the button is getting hot, even though it's an aluminum frame. You don't feel any heat from the mod. Now, this is done. Heating up evenly at the same time. Now I'm going to go ahead and wick it up. This is going to be wicked a little differently because I'm just going to wick one strand of cotton all the way through both coils. Just right across the top. So it's going to be kind of having an arc in it, a little bit of an arch. Just going to fluff my cotton up, take off what I don't need. Get a nice strand. That's where things get kind of interesting when you're wicking these type of coils, because you got to put it in through the bottom and then pull it out. Alright, now that I got to pull through a little bit, I'm just going to get some more of this. I'm going to shed a little bit off of it, so I'm going to have to put this in the second coil. Alright, so I'm putting it to the second coil. I'm just going to get a little bit enough through there so I can go reach down there and grab my pliers. Grab a little bit, just kind of pull it through until I see it feeling pretty snug right there. Go to clip off the excess. Now what I do with the excess, I just kind of coat the bottom like a little cotton cloud with it, just so that I can use that drip reservoir to its full potential. So I can just drip it through the top of the RDA without having to worry about it hitting the coil or the cotton. I already know it's going to juice it up automatically. said, just juice it up, just kind of put it across the top. I like to get it nice and wet and saturated first with the first run through. Seeing as how I'm using regular cotton, I like to just burn off the first couple of hits just so I don't get that nasty cotton taste. I like to fill up a little bit of that weld deck just so I can have that extra security when I'm doing it. So let's go ahead and fire her up. So it should fire it up pretty mean. Fires up pretty nice, so it's going to get a pretty good build from it. You're going to get a nice vape. As you can see, even though it has brass contact, it still fires up pretty quick. And I can just keep hitting it because of the way it's wicked. There's a lot of wicking and a lot of cotton, but there's a lot of airflow to it too. So it has a lot of room for the vapor to escape, which comes in very handy. Let's go to adjust it again, make it look pretty now that I got it wet. Alright. So, here it is again. This monster. Like I was stating earlier, I wanted to use the biggest rod in there so I could put a lot of cotton in there so I can get the most amount of my juice from it. So I mean, it takes a lot to wick it up, but you're going to use every bit of that juice. It's actually really nice. Now, the reason why I set these coils to the sides here is so I can adjust it, so I can just make sure I get full airflow on these coils from that 3-ring airflow that comes with every Atty. Now, I'm not using a drip tip because I don't like drip tips. I never really use drip tips. So let's see how she rolls. It's giving me great flavor. Cloud production's almost there. All it's missing is airflow. Now, the easiest way to open up these airflows, I just take a Dremel, get a little grinding tool, and just stick it inside those holes and open them up just a little bit each time. Or I just kind of slit it all the way across. That way I can get the max amount of airflow from it. But for being a standard, without having any modifications done to it, it works really well. There's a lot of modifications that can be done to the Atty, which is why it's my favorite RDA, amongst other people's favorite RDAs. It's solid. You just know that if you're ever looking for an RDA, you're not sure what to get, Atty's always a good way to go because you're never going to be disappointed. So that was 2 hits. Let's see how many more I can get before I get a dry hit. We're going to trace the dry hit again. We're up to 4. I'm still wet. I mean, this thing's going to continue hitting, and I can take a lot more drags off it. I'm still not going to get a dry hit. The reason why is because I got juice filled into the bottom drip wall. I'm using the drip wall to its full potential. I got cotton leading through the bottom that's sucking in the juice to the top, just like a Jenny works. Same idea, same concept. So if you're trying to save some juice, it's the easiest way to do it. I think there's 8, so let's see how many more I can go. The vapor does start to get a little hot after a while when you vape it in succession, but the RDA gets a little warm, but for the most part, the insulator on top tends to help out a lot. These heat fins are going to work. They're doing their job. They're dispersing the heat. You're not burning your lips. You're not burning your mouth. You throw a drip tip on there, you're not going to feel any heat. Gotta punch that back on there. So this mod is performing. Simple build. Makes it work amazing. This is a build that, you know, just kind of got bored one day and decided, you know what, I'm going to try this way. When I tried it, vaped on it for a couple weeks, and then I enjoyed it. It's just a good, relaxed build. If you're not trying to chase clouds all day, if you're trying to get good flavor, trying to get decent cloud production, it's the way to go. It works really well. And then if you're using regulated devices, it works well on regulated devices too. It's just a 6-strap 24-gauge dual. Not that hard to do. Really simple, really easy. Gets the job done. I like it. So, that was today's review on the Apollo. And like I said, if you like these videos, make sure to subscribe. We'll be putting videos up, multiple videos up a week. Check out our Vine, Instagram, Twitter. We'll have new posts, new edits, new designs up there. Gotta give a shout out to my camera guy. Check out his IG at Ryan_arts. He has some great work underneath there. He does all of my edits, does all of my recording. Mad props to him. So make sure to like and subscribe.